All right, ladies and gentlemen of the YouTube citizens, y'all know who this is. This is your boy Dash the True Inferno. Now, I am reviewing, like I promised last week, Twista's 5th studio album, which is called The Day After. Now, before we get into this album, let's talk about his previous album, which was Kamikaze. Now, if you recall from last week, I said in the original version, here's the thing with this. In the original version, the first edition that dropped, there was, how many tracks? 17 tracks. The problem is when I bootlegged this album, like I think that same year or some years later or whatever, I didn't get the outro, which is called Don't Get Me, which is again the outro. I'm assuming it's a song since the outro is like 5 minutes long. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. And then he came out with the album, or re-released it, but they took out the outro and added 2 new songs. So basically at this point, that outro, Don't Get Me, don't exist. So I can't review that song and factor it into my review on Kamikaze, which I did last week. So in case you missed that, go and check that out. Now let's move on towards his 5th album, which is The Day After. That album dropped October 4th, 2005. And the entire album was recorded in that year. So it wasn't like, oh, he started in 2004 and moved on. No. That mud dropped the same year he started recording. So, and this album was released under Atlantic Records. And there is a version chopped and screwed by Paul Wall, which is kind of interesting. And even though the album was certified gold, because last week I mentioned that he had 2 other albums that went gold, this is one of them, with sales lower than Kamikaze, despite that, it was received to generally positive reviews. And this is also the first album that he did where there is no production by longtime collaborator, the legendary Trackster, which is interesting. So speaking of producers, here's the ones that was involved with this one. We got Toxic, Pharrell, aka along with the Neptunes, obviously, Scott Scorch, Stark Child, Mr. Collie Park, Mad M.A.D., and Cuzzo. So yeah, now here we got 15 tracks, which means I can give y'all a top 5. But before we get to the tracks, let me talk more about this album real quick. So remember last week I said Kamikaze did well on the charts. The only other album that could possibly compete with it is The Day After, which is this one. So this one was number 2 in the Billboard Top 200. It was number 1 in both the US top R&B/hip hop albums and number 1 on the top rap albums as well. And as I mentioned, it was certified gold. So this and Adrenaline was the only 2 albums he did that was gold. Kamikaze was platinum, obviously. So there you go with that. Now let's get on with the 15 tracks. Now there are a grand total of 3 singles. 2 of them are official, meaning one of them is unofficial. But we get more on that later. Let me give y'all the name of the track. So we got the first track, which is called The Day After, featuring once again Selena Johnson. She was in his previous album, that's why I say once again. Track number 2 is called Check That Hoe, followed by Chocolate, how you pronounce this? Chocolate Face, and not Face or Phase. It's like F-E-S, and Red Bones. And that one featuring Johnny P. Followed by Get It How You Live, followed by Lavish featuring Pharrell. Oh my God, that's track. More on that later. Track number 6 is called Girl Tonight featuring Trey Songz. That's one of his singles actually. Track number 7 is called Do Wrong featuring Lil' Kim. Followed by A Heartbeat, then Holding Down the Game. Track number 10 is called When I Get You Home, and in parentheses, AIOU. I don't know what that stood for, but whatever. And that one featuring Jamie Foxx and Pharrell. Track number 11 is the third and the unofficial single off this album, So Lonely, with, not featuring, but with Mariah Carey. So that means this song was in both albums, just like Slow Jams was on Twista's Kamikaze album and Kanye's The College Dropout album. Same thing here. Track number 12 is called Had to Call, featuring Snoop Dogg and Sleepy Eyed Jones. Track number 13 is called Out Here, featuring Juvenile and this was the Cash, well, actually barely Cash Money Juvenile. It was the same year where he actually left Cash Money. So this features Juvenile and Speed Not Mobsters. Track number 14 is called I'm a Winner, followed by the second single, Hit the Floor, featuring Pitbull. So, yeah, let's get on with the singles. So the first single to drop was Girl Tonight. That one features Trey Songz. So there's not much info on this album aside from the charts, and yes, there is a music video for this song as well. Now this one was number 14th on the Billboard Hot 100. It was third on the Hot R&B/Hip Hop songs, and it was second in the Hot Rap tracks, and 47 in the UK single charts. And the single was actually gold. So the single actually did nice. Now the second single is called Hit the Floor, and once it, not flow as in F-L-O, but floor, F-L-O-O-R. And again, that one featuring Pitbull. And again, not much info on that single aside from the charts. So it was 94th on the Billboard Hot 100, 125th on the Hot R&B/Hip Hop songs, and 20th in the Hot Rap tracks. And let me tell you guys something. This song right here was a club banger. Like, dog, you don't know. You missed out with this one. This one was a club banger, dog. Like, if you want some females to get in the club and shake their ass, doesn't matter who they shake their ass on, this is the song you play, dog. Oh my gosh. Like, I'll be on the dance floor where there's there's have railings around the dance floor where I just lean on them. Some chicks would come up on me and just start dancing on me, dog. That shit happened a lot, dog. Oh my gosh. Hit the Floor was a definite club banger. Now, let's get on with the third single, which ironically enough, here's the thing about this third single. The third single came out after his only single from his next album, which was Against All the Odds, which is called What We Do. Not that song done by Freeway, Jay-Z, and Beat the Single. It's a different What We Do. But anywho, so that single came out after that one. So Lonely, featuring Mariah Carey. Now there is info on this one since this is a joint song. And actually, before I get to that, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. There is info on Girl Tonight. My fault. So this single dropped September 20th, 2005. And it's simple. Tonight by Ready for the World. And I already gave you the chart. So yeah, a little bit of info on that single. That's it. But there's none for Hit the Floor. I crap you not. There's none for Hit the Floor. So Lonely. The single was released January 18, 2006. And not only was this song featured on The Day After by Twista, but it was also featured on Mariah Carey's album, how you pronounce this word? Emancipation of Mimi, Ultra Platinum Edition. So yeah, there you go with that. Now, the version on Mariah Carey's album served as a sequel track to One and Only, which also features Twista. And that's another track off of the same album, Mariah Carey's album. And it's subtitled One and Only Part 2. The version on The Day After serves as a sequel track to that and is therefore subtitled One and Only Part 3. So apparently there's these One and Only songs. There's 3 of them. And it it's weird, and it's also featured or ties in with the track. Not the track, but the title, So Lonely. So Lonely serves as part 2 and part 3. Part 2 is on Mariah's album, and along with part 1. But part 3 was on Twista's album. So there you go with that. So let me see. The single unofficially impacted the American radio on January 18, like I said, but it had already been added to many radio station playlists and internet websites well before this date in late September 2005. The single was introduced to iTunes as a digital download in late 2005. This song, So Lonely, reached number 14 on the Billboard Bubbling Under Hot 100 Singles chart, which represents the 25 singles below the Billboard Hot 100 number 100 position that have not yet appeared on the Hot 100. It failed to reach the top 40 on the Pop 100 or Hot R&B/Hip Hop songs charts, though it appeared on the Rhythmic Airplay chart. There was no official music video for the single. So, like I said, there are 2 versions of the song. One called So Lonely, One and Only Part 2, which is in parentheses, from Mariah Carey's album, and only the Ultra Platinum edition. And that one have an extended intro and an additional verse by Mariah. And there's another song called So Lonely, and in parentheses, One and Only Part 3. And this was on Twista's album, The Day After, which has a shorter intro and feature Mariah Carey singing the chorus and part of the bridge, but not any verses. So yeah, it's a bit confusing. So let's backtrack. Part 1 is called One and Only, if memory serves me correctly. I believe it is called One and Only. Let's find out. Let's look at Mariah Carey's album real quick, because it can be a bit confusing, I will admit. So we want the Ultra Platinum edition. So here we go. So the original song is called One and Only. So that one's on any of her albums, the original or the one with the bonus tracks, or the one with the Ultra Platinum edition bonus track. It's just called One and Only. That's part 1 right there. Part 2 is called So Lonely, one, and then in parentheses, One and Only Part 2. That one is only on the Ultra Platinum edition of Mariah's album, and again, that one featuring Twista. Then there's a Part 3, which is called So Lonely, and in parentheses, One and Only Part 3, and that one's on Twista's album, and obviously Mariah's in it as well. It's kind of almost remind me of the John Rambo movies, because his first movie is called I Crap You Not, First Blood. Then his second movie is called Rambo, First Blood 2. The only difference was Rambo 3. So they just dropped First Blood. It's funny, but you know, I'm getting on topic here a little bit. So yeah, there you go with that. And it did nothing outside the US as far as the charts goes. So with the singles and the confusion out the way, let's move on to my favorite tracks from the bottom on up. Girl Tonight. Like, I remember the single. I never saw the music video, but I do remember the single, and I didn't really like it like that. So it's like blah. After that, The Day After was okay, followed by Heartbeat and When I Get You Home. Now that song which featured Jamie Foxx and Pharrell, I felt that more was needed for this beat. Otherwise, this would have been really dope. Like, it's had the potential, you know, because the verses, the lyricism, things of that nature was all cool. It's just the beat itself, which is ironically enough produced by the Neptunes. I felt it was lacking. There should have been more with this beat, in my opinion, and I didn't get that. So that's why it's not up there in the top 5 or anything like that. It could have been if there was a little bit more at it. Next up, we got I'm a Winner, followed by Holding Down the Game, and then of course there Hit the Floor featuring Pitbull. Again, a club banger, legendary club banger right there. Then of course So Lonely with Mariah. You know, I like that song. That's pretty cool. Had to Call featuring Snoop Dogg and Sleepy Eye Jones was cool as well. And then we got Get It How You Live, and that was pretty good because of the drums. The drums really made this track for the most part really dope. It would have been my top 5, but I had to bump it out in favor for the 5 that actually did. So speaking of those 5, let's get straight into it. The 5th best track off this album, Out Here, featuring Juvenile and Speed Knox Mobsters. And I said that earlier, I said that this was around the time where Juvenile left Cash Money, which is ironic because the beat itself sounds like something Cash Money made, and that's why I liked it. That old school Cash Money, I was like, yo, it sounds something that could be on a Cash Money joint. And it was really dope. I had to admit, it was dope right there, man. 4th best track off this album, and this one was a tough one for me, man. Do Wrong featuring Lil' Kim. Lil' Kim made this track, and the beat was smooth. And I was like, bruh, you know what? After thinking about it, I'm gonna bump that up to number 3. So yes, you heard me right. I made a change to my top 5 while at the same time talking about my top 5. I think I've done that once before, but if I didn't, this will be the first time. So that's now the 3rd best track off the album. Like Lil' Kim made this track. I'm sorry. It's just she was too dope on this track, and the beat was too smooth. Like there were so many good things about this track that I like. I had to bump it up 1. So you're probably wondering, well, what did I drop from number 3 to number 4? Chocolate Face and Red Bones featuring Johnny P. It's a good joint. It's one of those mellow joints, and again, you know I love the mellow joints. So and that's why it's in my top 5. Really, it was number 3, but I had to bump it back to number 4 because that Do Wrong track was just too dope. Second best track off this album, Lavish featuring Pharrell. And I heard this song many times prior to me listening to this album. Cause when I was reviewing it, this is my first time hearing the day after. So I had no clue that Lavish was on this album. I thought this was a Pharrell song that features Twista, but instead it was the other way around. And Lavish was dope, man. That one was smooth as well, man. So yeah, I would listen to that all day without question. And the best track off this album is Check That Hoe. This beat is dope as hell, dog. I heard that joint, I'm like, oh my gosh, that beat though, man. So yeah, the second track off this album is the best track off this entire album, man. That beat is dope as heck. That's all I'm gonna say about it, man. It's just extremely dope. You need to check that song out yourself. Now, let me give y'all some professional ratings or reviews. So we got Metacritic giving it a 69. Really, a 69 out of 100. AllMusic gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. Billboard gave it an average. Hip Hop DS gave it 4 out of 5 stars. LA Times gave it 3.5 out of 4 stars. Pop Matters, wow, gave it 9 out of 10 stars. Rap Reviews gave it an 8 out of 10. Rolling Stone gave it a 2 out of 5 stars. Stylist Magazine gave it a C. USA Today gave it a 3 out of 4 stars. And Vibe gave it 3.5 out of 5 stars. So, with that said, what do I think about this album? Okay, we can pretty much put this discussion in bed. Kamikazes is Twista's best album. Now, I probably could listen to Adrenaline Rush, see how that is. Maybe in Adrenaline Rush 2007 and possibly category for F5. I don't know. I doubt it. I'll go that far. But to me, Kamikaze is his best album. The Day After seems like it's his second best. So with that said, I'm gonna give this. Oh, it's a tough one. What I want to give it? I don't want to. I'm gonna give this a 3.75 out of 5 stars because even though it has some good songs on here, you know. It brings me back with the Hit the Flow song, because that was a good club banger. The So Lonely song was good. Get How You Live was dope. Had a Call was dope. And these ain't my top 5. You know what? Screw that. It's a 4 out of 5. I'm going to give it a 4 out of 5. Bump it up 4 out of 5. Because it has so many good songs that's not in the top 5. It has some okay songs, and it had that Girl Tonight song that I didn't really like. And the top 5 was really good. For the most part, the top 5 was all different. We had songs from Cash Money. We had an R&B song up there. We had one that was like dope. We had one that was mellow out but smooth at the same time. And then we had one that was like extremely dope. It was, you know, there's a little bit of variety in that top 5. Check That Hoe. I'm gonna have to listen to that track more and more often, see where I placed it in my all-time favorite track. It's really that good. That beat is really that good. Do Wrong is really good as well, featuring Lil' Kim. So I give this a 4 out of 5 stars, and I recommend you download it. So yeah, download it and keep it. I recommend you do that. So there you go with that, man. Y'all know who this is. This is the new Jay Gatsby, aka the new Stephen A. Smith, saying peace out, y'all. Now see y'all next time. Yeah.